Sensitivity souls, the sound way in. Yeah. Spitting dialectics, got angles on the page, breaking down systems, the capital cage. Material moves, no utopian dream. History unfolds like a river, a stream.
Scientific flows, no fancy in sight. Struggle of the classes, sparks in the night. From the factories to the fields, workers take flight. A world to win, yo, we fighting for the right.
Critique of the schemes, utopians fail. No shortcuts here, this ain't a fairy tale. Material base, that's the root of the show. Ideas ain't enough, change starts below.
Revolutions don't come on a silver tray. It's the masses in motion, paving the way. Science in the struggle, truth on the grind. The proletariat rise, leave the chains behind.
Rip it out. Capital is shaking, they know what's ahead. The working class awakens, no more being led. Means of production in collective hands. From theory to practice, we taking the land.
Scientific flows, no fantasy in sight. Struggle of the classes, sparks in the night. From the factories to the fields, workers take flight. A world to win, yo, we fighting for the right. Let's move tonight. Power hour, power hour. Let's learn tonight. Power hour, power hour. Learn Lenin right. Power hour, power hour. Join the ACP. Power hour, power hour. Sound hip to me. Power hour, power hour. Don't wait and see. Power hour, power hour. The people make their own history. Let's groove tonight. Power hour, power hour. Let's move tonight. Power hour, power hour. Let's learn tonight. Power hour, power hour.
Alright, folks, what's up? Let me know how the audio sounds. I'm in a new location today, obviously. I don't have my microphone with me, so let me know how the audio sounds. Hopefully, you all like the intro music today. I've got about a million of those songs since I've learned how to use AI. Still fire, yeah, thank you. I hope it's not AI, voices, beats, and instruments. I hope we're produced. Dude, I've been cooking up beats in the stew all day long. No, most of it was AI. I hate to tell you. I like this funky disco music. Nice. I'm glad you like it. This Loki slaps. Sweet. Is this AI? Oh yes. LOL. Yeah. Otherwise, we couldn't have ACP lyrics. One day we'll be able to hire musicians. This is awful. Yeah, I knew we'd get at least one comment saying that, but you're objectively wrong. So, based intro music. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, AIs are making fire songs. Yeah, I was unable to do it earlier, but with the technology where it's at now, it's pretty easy. Audio is good. Awesome. Awesome. Liger AI. Yeah. There's still some skill that goes into it. The more you customize the songs, the better they sound. Like the last one I played, the Power Hour, Power Hour. That one I had to um, sort of manually do a lot more than some of the other ones where I just gave it a basic prompt. But music is much better than it was a year ago. Yeah, so are the videos and pictures. That new Google, I can't remember what exactly it's called, but Google has this new like video AI, and it's quite insane. I need to make some new AI songs. Are you on your iPad, Eddie? No, I'm on my computer. So I have my actual camera, but yeah, it's pretty easy. I would give it a shot. It's fun. Suno AI is like $10 a month if you want to use your songs commercially, which obviously I am right now. But you can do it for free if you're not going to use the songs commercially too. They give you quite a few free songs. Let me make sure. Okay, YouTube turned monetization on again, so let me turn that off so that you guys don't get interrupted by ads, hopefully. Good evening, homies. Good evening, Jenny. Good to see you. AI is improving at a scary rate. It is, but this is basically what we expect with technology, right? And the key is that humans always have to remain in control and use technology as a tool, but we're not really at the point. Like, even with AI being as amazing as it is, like people who use it a lot recognize that it is still a tool, right? It's not like a person. It can't think for you. It's like a resource gathering tool. It's just like a hyper powered search engine that can do tasks you command it to do, but it's not like replacing humans yet. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe eventually it will. Who knows? Ads are dumb and I hate them. Yeah, and I have an ad blocker installed. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I can't expect everyone to be getting ads midstream when I have an ad blocker installed. What is this trolling communist logo? What do you mean? No, not trolling. Actual communist. ACP needs to ban ads, dudes. I'm so for that. Think of the psychological effect that it has to see billboards everywhere. And every time you get off work, there's like McDonald's being shoved down your throat through commercials. You know, it's literally, they inject ads into everything, every little facet of life, unless you pay for a subscription to stop them. And even then, some like Flow Wrestling, the main company that posts wrestling matches and records them and live streams them, you have to pay for their service. You pay a subscription like you would for Netflix or anything else. And then they also give you ads. So they're also shoving ads in your face when you're already paying. It's like, dude, if I'm paying for your service, don't bombard me with ads. If it's free, if it's a free service, if I'm not paying anything, whatever, I don't care. I get it. You have to make your money somehow. But don't make me pay, enter my credit card info, and give you money every month, and then try to sucker some ad revenue out of me, you sucker. I much want AI to be able to write my boring ass resumes without still needing a bunch of help and revision. Yeah, it's not quite there. AI really helps with academic research, helps find sources really quickly. This is true. Anybody who's like done actual academic research with AI can tell you that. Like, and it's not having the AI think for you, it's asking the AI basically to gather sources for you. And sometimes if it's a subject that you know really well, you can correct the AI if it gets something wrong, and it'll take that into account. But yeah, it's quite useful. My paper on the gold standard and the transition from capitalism into socialism and the role that the credit system plays in that, that's coming out in the very next Red America issue. I used AI as just a source gathering tool a lot, because there were a ton of sources that I had to go through, from like political economy research papers from hundreds of years ago and stuff. So AI made it extremely easy. Lawn Guy, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, brother. I appreciate you. Right back at you with the thumbs up. Shout out to Red Maze, our super chatter from a while ago. The YouTube money that he donated hit my account this week, so we'll be getting a drone very soon for the ACP media team. But thank you all for your super chats. Appreciate all of them, big and small. We are a completely people's-funded institute. So, all right, I will get back to discussing all the recent news stories and interacting with you in the chat. But we got to play our intro because I haven't done it yet. So I'll be back in about 2 minutes and 18 seconds.
High Sheriff Hazard is a hard man to be. High Sheriff is his only plan. He digs through pockets, takes what he can, for he's High Sheriff Hazard. He caught me one evening, and here's what he said: "You look like a Russian, you look like a red, and if you're fond of your skin and your head, beware the High Sheriff of Hazard."
No, we don't want to play it again. All right, we're back, folks. How's it going? How's it going? Be careful trusting AI with factual information. Yeah, that's why you have to ask it to actually give you its sources, because it'll make mistakes. Understand that you still need to check sources and validate. Yeah, exactly. So what do people think about the election in New York? Anti-imperialist party. Let's go, Gorilla Sun. Appreciate you for the two. What do people think about the election in New York? It's like, I understand why people want to have optimism, and there is reason to have optimism in the face of, um, rising multipolarity and increasing anti-establishment popular consciousness in the United States generally, as well as an increasing interest in socialism. Um, Deteriorating conditions, the deterioration of imperialism and capitalism more generally is creating the conditions for a possible revolution. So there's things to be excited about, but I really struggle to understand how people still get excited about a democratic socialist running in the Democratic Party. Um, it's just like we've been burned by these people so many times before, and you guys know, people who have been around for a while know that I once donated to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Democratic Socialist campaign to unseat an elite, Democratic neoliberal establishment figure in New York, and that amounted to a whole lot of nothing. I might as well have just burned my money or donated it to the Republican Party with the amount of change that AOC has fought for, or rather not fought for, since getting in office and promising all of us a political revolution to, really shake things up and go after the Democrats. She quickly cozied up to Nancy Pelosi and became one of them. If Zoran, I keep calling him Zorro because that's a better name. He should just change it. But if Zorro goes in there and acts unlike all the other Democratic socialists, and he really challenges the establishment, and he really fights back, he's had good moments on the issue of Israel for sure, which I think is a big part of his popularity and his victory. He's had good moments on that, but if he continues to go in and challenge the system and tell Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to their face that they're corrupt, if he acts basically like what Thomas Massie is for the Republican Party, if he acts like that within the Democrats, then of course I support it. If I lived in New York, would I have gone out and voted for that guy over Chris Cuomo? Possibly. I wouldn't have put any effort into campaigning for him on the ground because he's in the Democratic Party, and I've wasted enough time and energy and money doing that in my life and seeing it go nowhere. That being said, if he acts within the Democratic Party in a positive way and calls out AIPAC's influence and things like this, shout out to him. More power to him. I'll support it. I think it's far more likely that Washington and the swamp will eat him alive because he has no, connection to a collective organization, an independent organization outside of the two-party system. His party is still technically, it's still the Democratic Party. That's the party that he's running for office within, even if he's a DSA member. So that's the party that he ultimately has to be loyal to. It's not a communist party. It's not a socialist party even. So that will ultimately be his downfall. But I think most people in my audience already understand this, right? It's just weird that after like Bernie, AOC, and Obama, you have some people like, please, Zorro, don't sell us out. And even that is like, why are you still begging Democrats to not sell you out? Like, clearly they're going to. That's all they've ever done. But, at least people are more aware that he will, that he is a Democrat. But you still have people like, the political revolution is here. And it's like, no, it's not. I'm sorry. It will be here eventually, but it's not going to happen through the ballot box, through gubernatorial elections, unfortunately. But like I said, more power to him. The more good that he does, the more, thumbs up I'll give him and say, good job, buddy. Thank you for fighting as hard as you can from within that decrepit party that you decided to join. So... yeah, I don't know. I worked for the Bernie campaign and then became a Marxist-Leninist. So, like, and, working in that campaign is part of what turned me into a Marxist-Leninist. So, I'm sorry if I'm pooping on your parade here, raining on your parade, putting a damper on your excitement. But that's just the cold, hard reality from your old uncle. I'm old and weathered. And jaded. Thank you, Joey, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. If he changes his name to Zorro, he will become our fighter. He will join the ACP and become our powerhouse. I couldn't agree more. Zorro was a badass, like Mexican hero character. And he's also really badass in the anime One Piece. Not to be degenerate by talking about anime, but that is a good show, and Zorro is a cool character. So, thank you. Appreciate you, Joey. No real change will come from the party duopoly. Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's how it's designed to suck people in. And, like, whether you believe, like, AOC or even Zorro are, like Democratic or CIA plants from the beginning, whether you believe that or not, they do play a role of sheepdogging a lot of revolutionary energy into the Democratic Party. And this is why I did take I didn't take a firm stance on his campaign, other than, a shout out to him. He's better than Chris Cuomo. Other than to say, don't waste your time like door knocking and organizing and putting time, money, energy, and effort into it, because that's where these campaigns actually do become a problem, where people are putting all of their energy into electoral politics to get more AOCs elected, while neglecting doing the workplace organizing and the community organizing and the party building outside of the Democratic Party. That could actually bring about a serious change. That could actually bring about a serious revolution. You spend all this time helping the Democrats build their infrastructure and build their popularity, which they're also using to boost neoliberal candidates, and even these democratic socialists like Bernie and AOC and Zorro, of course, endorsed Biden against Trump in the last election. Like, they also, you're boosting them, and then they are used as megaphones to boost neoliberal candidates, to boost non-socialist candidates. So it's just a lot of time and energy that gets funneled into the Democratic Party that could be funneled elsewhere. So that's why I say you shouldn't go knock doors for these people or organize for them unless you're in a very, unique situation. And you can go vote for them or whatever, but just don't think that it's going to bring about a revolution. Don't expect them to do anything more than what AOC has done. And I mean, the guy calls October 7th a horrible war crime and stuff. He's has the same position as AOC on all these issues. When it comes to voting for Biden, when it comes to October 7th, he might even support a two-state solution, which, I mean, would be par for the course for progressive anti-war Democrats like that. Anti-war Democrats. That's what we learned from Bernie. Right, that's why it's just like, when you see so many people like, we did it, the revolution is here, we got him elected. It's like, oh, are you new here? Are you new to the Democratic Party? We've learned these lessons before. But whatever. Some people got to learn the hard way. It's like when your parents tell you something over and over again and you don't listen to them. And then, you learn the hard way. You make some decision that backfires on you. And you're like, I probably should have listened to my parents. I mean, hopefully it'll be like that. And the youngsters will be like, oh, we should have listened to those ACP guys. Thoughts on Iran's weak sauce? On Israel, weak sauce. While the United States still schemes to overthrow the Iranian government. Yeah, if the reports of Iran agreeing to a ceasefire are true, I don't think it's a good idea. There is no ceasefire with Israel. They will continue seeking regime change in a psychotic and, even self-destructive manner. They will continue trying to drag the United States into war. I mean, it shouldn't even necessarily be described that way, because the U.S. has wanted war with Iran for so long. The neocons and the deep state and the oligarchs and lobbyists who are really making a lot of these decisions have always wanted war with Iran, or since 1979, when Iran nationalized their oil and their banking industry, is the main thing, and refused to go along with U.S. dollar hegemony in the Middle East. So, in a lot of ways, Israel is acting as an attack dog of the U.S. as well. But make no mistake about it, Israel is determined to get this war with Iran. So Iran agreeing to a ceasefire, it basically just delays the inevitable. I mean, I guess I get why they did it, but yeah, things are far from over there, for sure. And Trump is still a liar and a coward and a traitor to his MAGA base for dropping those bombs on them. Dropping the bombs on the Iranian nuclear facilities that aren't used to proliferate a nuclear weapon. We know that because of the Iran deal that Trump pulled out of, which made it so that their nuclear program was monitored 24/7 by the International Atomic Energy Agency. But that wasn't good enough for Trump. The one good thing that could come from this is Iran needs to use the ceasefire as an opportunity to get an actual nuke. Right? And this is what we know now. They're gonna accuse you of getting a nuke anyways. They've been accusing you. Netanyahu is on record on video accusing Iran of proliferating a nuclear weapon for the last 30 years. For 30 years, he said they are 2 to 3 years away from a nuclear weapon. They still don't have one. Okay, what does this tell us? The Israelis will accuse you of having a nuke no matter what, even if you completely blow up and erase your entire nuclear program. They will accuse you of creating a nuclear weapon. So you need to do what North Korea did. You need to hit up those guys in Pakistan who helped the DPRK get their nuclear weapon, and you need to build one. And then you need to say, hey, Israel, now you're not the only people with nuclear weapons in the Middle East, so you can't attack us anymore, and you have to let us have our revolutionary government. And then you're good. Nobody ever attacks the DPRK, and maybe this sounds crazy if you're still in this liberal world of we need denuclearization now. Right? It's not the reality. Anti-imperialist countries have a right to defend themselves when they're being threatened by nuclear powers. And I know it's scary, but it's the reality. And how many people has the DPRK, North Korea, supposedly, allegedly, according to our media, the most psychotic state on the planet? This state that just, massacres and starves their own people for no reason and lashes out at their neighbors for nothing. They've had a nuclear weapon for many years now, and they have not once used it on anybody. Not once has the DPRK's nuclear weapon led to more war, more bloodshed, more death. The only thing it's done is prevented the U.S. from killing 20% of their population again, like they did in the Korean War. It's acted as a deterrent. And if Iran had one, Israel wouldn't be able to just wake up one morning and say, let's launch some missiles at them. Let's kill a bunch of their scientists and their civilians. So this is why we can't be pro denuclearization in this century, in this era. It doesn't make any sense. The DPRK has proven that these countries should get any means possible to defend themselves. Zoran is also saying we should ban guns. I saw that tweet. Like my brother in Christ. Come on now. Delete these tweets. He had one like that, and then he had another one that Charlie Kirk tweeted, like something silly about queer liberation. I don't know, but that's what you expect from democratic socialists in 2020 to 2022. But those tweets will probably come back to haunt all of them. Those like hyper woke pandering tweets, pandering to whatever group their strategist told them to pander to. Excuse me. Roller coaster of emotions with the Iran thing. Haas is right. We should focus on the home front, not endorsing. But Free Palestine groups in the UK is nuts. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the second part of your question, but yeah, it's until Iran has a Marxist-Leninist revolution instead of an Islamic one, which is not on the horizon. It's always going to be a roller coaster of emotions, I feel like, for a Marxist-Leninist, because you're always going to respect what Iran's doing. You're always going to understand it, and you're always going to understand why it's based, right? The fact that they don't allow themselves to be pillaged by Western banks and Western multinationals. As a Marxist-Leninist, you're always going to support that. But you're also going to understand, the shortcomings that come with a system like that when you don't have a Marxist-Leninist foundation. When you're not actively pursuing a nuclear deterrent because of religious reasons. And when you're leaving a lot of those class contradictions, at play in your society. There's always going to be things to criticize in Iran as a Marxist-Leninist, but at the same time, you're always going to support them and have this attachment to them as they're fighting against Zionism and imperialism and capitalist imperialism too, more specifically. So, especially when they're doing battle with the Zionist entity. Like you hear Free Palestine did in the UK. I mean, a couple guys on scooters infiltrating an airbase and sabotaging planes. Oh, no, I didn't hear about that. That's crazy. That's nuts. It's kind of like what Kala Walsh and those American activists did. I mean, kind of adventurism, but also kind of based. I'm not gonna lie. Spray painting jet engines. We can have communism with American characteristics, including gun rights. I mean, yeah, and people know what Karl Marx said about guns, right? Hopefully people are aware of the Marxist position on guns. It is not the left liberal position at all. Under no pretext should arms and ammunition be surrendered. Any attempt to disarm the workers must be frustrated by force if necessary. Right? This is a liberal position. The only reason we think guns are a left-wing position in the U.S. Is because the Democrats use it as one of their main pandering devices because we have all these mass shootings, because we have a deeply alienated and hyper-isolated and hyper-exploited and hyper-antisocial society. We have a lot of these mass shootings, and the Democrats have honed in on guns, and they use that as a way to drive people to the polls. Vote for us. We're the party that wants to do something about the guns. So it's become in America associated with the left, when really it's just a scapegoat for Democrats to avoid talking about all of the systemic reasons that we have so many mass shootings outside of just the prevalence of guns. And yeah, now people associate taking guns away with the left when it's always been, of course not. We're revolutionaries. We support the working class rising up against the system, which is a violent and exploitative system that's absolutely going to try to kill us when we rise up against it. So why would we give our guns up to that system when it's literally, we have the advantage as Americans? It's written into our Constitution that you should be able to organize a militia against the tyrannical government. They basically wrote a Marxist revolution clause into the American Constitution. So the idea that we would roll that back is not a left-wing idea, not a revolutionary idea. So I'm not surprised to see a democratic socialist supporting that, but a real communist, a real socialist who understands, the brutal nature of class struggle. I can't be supporting taking the people's self-defense away. Is Trump retarded? Yes, a little bit. Yes and no. He's smart. He's like a retarded genius, is how I would say it. Eddie, I'm curious if you ever leaned towards the Republican Party at one point before you learned more about politics and moved to the left. I'll give you my whole journey. So my parents were like Christian evangelicals who voted Republican because they were pro-life. And that's all I knew was, we're Republicans because abortion. And then when I got a little older, there was this Koch brothers funded governor in Wisconsin, my home state, called Scott Walker. That was his name. And he basically busted up the teachers' unions and cut their pay. My dad was a teacher, and he did all this debt fear-mongering. He was like, we have to cut their pay in order to fix Wisconsin's debt. Well, he turned around and gave like a multi-billion-dollar state subsidy to Foxconn, this big multinational corporation that didn't bring as many jobs as they said they were going to bring. And Walker ended up increasing Wisconsin's debt by millions. So, I was in middle school watching this. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. This Republican corporate funded guy just cut my dad's pay and scapegoated the teachers for the state's debt as they're pumping money into giant corporations. And then the debt increased anyways. So that kind of explained to me, that helped me understand how the whole system worked at a very young age. But I was still, leaned more towards the Democratic Party because I was like, oh, they're talking about, supporting teachers and stuff. But I wasn't into like the woke stuff. As a high schooler, I was watching like feminist wrecked compilations like Ben Shapiro and stuff. But I was always economically left-wing. I really liked TJ Kirk, the amazing atheist. He would do like feminist wrecked videos and videos on why he's voting for Bernie and why free, universal healthcare is good and stuff. So anyways, then I went to college and studied politics, and then I got into Kyle Kulinski, who obviously supported Bernie. So then I started supporting Bernie as I was studying and reading more, got involved with the Bernie campaign where I met Carlos. We started reading Marx and Lenin as we were watching all of the failures of the Bernie campaign around us. And never looked back. Then we started Midwestern Marx shortly after the campaign ended. So that'd be my journey. Feminists do be cringe the way they act out nowadays. Yeah, I mean, some of those videos had good points. Like when that guy said, this lady was filming him, and she's like, "What's your name?" And he was like, "My name is Hugh Mungus. First name Hugh, last name Mungus." And the lady's like, "You just sexually assaulted me." Like, there's like insane videos like that, but then they make you think like, this is the left. This is what the left is. Like, Ben Shapiro's still doing that. That's still his grift. You have to support Zionism and baby murder because the left is woke. Because the left said that making dad jokes about humongous is sexual assault. I remember that meme, LOL. Yeah, it was funny. Oh, shut up, Geraldo. His juvenile behavior. Haas is such a scary barbarian, man. You know that Mao led a guerrilla war, right? A war in the mountains and across all of China. And Che and all these people were warriors. And they had a little bit of barbarian energy to them. And they didn't do this bourgeois formalism all the time, where they pretended to be perfect robots to the point of not even being human. The reason so many people attach to Haas is because he is so human, right? That's one of the reasons I really liked him, because he wasn't trying to fake like he's a robot all the time, which is what a lot of these leftists do. They fake like they're so perfect and so above doing anything and so professional. And then behind the scenes, they're banging a bunch of people or cheating on their wives or doing drugs. You guys would be amazed the amount of people, in the political commentary sphere who I know who, nothing against them. A lot of them still do good work, but everybody's got stuff going on in their personal lives. And some people do some crazy stuff in their personal lives, whatever, not something that matters to me. I'm more focused on the substance of the politics, but Oz is, a little bit crazy on stream sometimes, or he used to be before he professionalized on behalf of the party. But he's a very real person, and his personal life is actually very boring. He's not doing drugs and crazy stuff and going out and having a million sexual partners or whatever else that a lot of these, more degenerate leftists who fake like they're the most professional, upstanding people in the world on camera are doing behind the scenes. So, yeah, I just don't agree at all. I think you need a leader who's real, who people can relate to, and a leader who looks like he could fight, actually. You don't want a revolutionary leader who looks like David Pakman. You can't have that. I agree with Professor Shaw. Okay. I wish you got to know Professor Shaw behind the scenes a little bit so you can know how ridiculous that statement is. But yeah, go follow Danny. Go hang out with Danny for a week. Lead the revolution with Danny, and then come back and let me know if you have that same opinion. Did you not used to call him a comrade? Yeah, we sure tried to bring him along. We sure did our best, but as Dan Cohen and Kim Ives told us, two communists who have been involved in the struggle for, I don't know, Kim Ives probably 50 years. A lot of people who have been around Danny suspect him of being a Fed, or suspected him of being a Fed for a long time. We try to look at everybody with open arms and give everybody a chance to change their liberalism or whatever else, but yeah, it backfired. We should have listened to the older communists who told us that they suspected he was a Fed, because now I suspect the same thing. It just makes too much sense. The guy just jet sets all across the world to like these remote places like East Timor. And where's the money coming from for all this? Anyways, we don't need to get into that. But yeah, go, and I'm serious. Go follow Danny and Danny's revolution that he's leading on the streets, and then let me know if you still think he's this great revolutionary. It'll be like when Frida Kahlo went to hang out with Trotsky in Mexico, and then afterwards she's like, "I'm no longer a Trotskyite, and I support Stalin." That's what that'll be like. Anyways. Relationships can change and they aren't stagnant. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Champion of the Abyss. Just here for the easy PS. Okay. Relax. Driveway incident. I knew something was up with that guy. I'm getting a real understanding of theory from you guys. Well, it chirps in with identitarian stuff. I didn't question it enough because you guys are solid. Yeah, that same with us. We're like, oh, whatever. He's getting better on a lot of these issues. We'll keep letting him get better. But anyways, didn't know that part of the history. Good for Frida. Yeah, she's based. She's very based. What are your thoughts on Bukharin? He was all right at first. And I believe Lacerdo's Stalin book, Critique of a Black Legend, talks about how Bukharin fell in with like the wreckers, basically. Reading the ABCs of Communism right now. Based. Okay, so what happened in the news recently? So was there a ceasefire or was there not? I was still confused about that. Was Trump lying? Or was there actually a ceasefire? Because it was like ceasefire, and then all these reports of Iran and Israel launching missiles at each other still were coming out. And then Trump made this tweet like, Israel better not drop those bombs, like threatening them in a tweet, saying you guys better not drop those bombs. So what actually happened? U.S. strikes failed to destroy Iran's nuclear site. Okay, I did see that. 1 second. So Trump's saying he'll meet with Iran next week, and the ceasefire is holding. Okay. So it looks like Iran actually did agree to a ceasefire. Like they fired a few missiles at each other, maybe after the ceasefire agreement, and they're like, okay, we'll stop. Trump's tweeting at us furiously. Trump's really letting us have it on Truth Social. We got to stop with the missiles. So Trump to meet with Iranian officials. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know which officials he's meeting with. That would be interesting to know as well. The position of those officials, because like I have a hunch that it was the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, who gave the order to actually light Israel up. The president Pezeshkian is more of a reformist and seemed more leaning towards peace. Or not peace, just letting Israel basically bitch them, was what he was leaning towards. And I have a feeling it was the supreme leader who came in and said, no, we can't just stand for this. We need some kind of military deterrence. But then we also have this. Sorry, Reuters, I'm not going to fund you right now. We also have this. U.S. strikes failed to destroy Iran's nuclear sites, intelligence report says. So even though Iran's nuclear sites are not proliferating a nuclear weapon, I cannot repeat this enough or say this loud enough for everyone in the back. Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, nor have they been found to be working on a nuclear weapon. But despite that, the U.S. was still unable to destroy their nuclear sites completely, which frankly is a good thing. Because you want to know why Iran uses, or what Iran's nuclear sites do? They're used for energy production, obviously, and for enriching uranium for the purpose of medical isotopes, which is used in cancer diagnosis and treatment. So you're really bombing their cancer treatment facilities because we know they don't have a nuclear weapon. Every time Israel says some stupid shit like, we took out one of Iran's top nuclear officials, what they mean is a nuclear scientist who's working on science for the purpose of medicine and energy and things that are actually productive to people's lives and society, not just weapons and bombs like you. I know that's the only thing Zionists understand is how to make weapons and bombs, but that's not actually what Iran's nuclear facilities are for. So it's good. I'm glad the U.S. failed to destroy them, and I hope that they become used to make a nuke so that Israel and the U.S. can't just bomb Iran at will. Treat them like a punching bag the way they've treated Gaza. U.S. drops bombs on Iran, then turns around and wants to meet up with Iran. Yeah, I mean, Trump still wants to be this great negotiator. He wants to be the president who brings an end to the Israel-Palestine conflict, but he's underestimating how psychotic the Zionist entity is and how psychotic the people surrounding him are, how psychotic the oligarchs around him are, and the deep state officials and the other AIPAC and other corporate lobbyist-controlled politicians around him. The swamp that he called it in 2015, at least, before he became them. He's Zionist himself. He's Zionist himself. Exactly. Yes, but I think he does want to. I think he recognizes how bad the PR is with Israel doing this genocide. Because now you even have a lot of people on the right just becoming anti-Semitic and becoming JQers and becoming America Firsters and criticizing Trump over this Israel issue. So it's really become a PR disaster for him as well. So he wants to get Israel on a leash, even if he is, a Zionist cuck ultimately. CIA got me. CIA got my ass. Ruh-roh. So you hear that they discovered a 1,000-year-old Hebrew tablet inscribed in it roughly translates to the Persians are weeks away from developing a bomb. proof that Zionists are indigenous to the land, and proof that the Iranians have been working on a nuclear weapon since before Iran existed. They were going to nuke the Spartans in 300. Now that would have been an interesting ending to the movie 300. Xerxes has developed a nuke. Netanyahu has warned us about it. They're censoring the hell out of this chat, bro. Yeah, I've noticed that with YouTube lately. I don't know what's going on, but like everything I type in my own YouTube chat gets censored. And it's like YouTube thinks your chat was spam, right? This is literally my chat. I'm checking out some messages from the boys. Babylon brought the bombs. Proof he is the God King. Yes. We're one friendly plane wave away from world peace, guys. Yes. Isn't it crazy how Trump tried to act like the peacemaker after bombing Iran? Like dropping bombs on a country that never attacked us is the way to peace. It's just so absurd. That reminds me of something funny. Dude, like, obviously I'm not super excited about this Zorro fella in New York because he's a Democrat. However, the reactions to his victory from the right have been hilarious. These complete grifters, these jokes of human beings, like Charlie Kirk and Laura Loomer. Their reactions to this guy getting elected, this Muslim Democratic Socialist, have been hilarious. Like the most hyperbolic shit you could think of. Like another 9/11 is coming. They keep invoking 9/11. Like have New Yorkers forgot about 9/11? Like bro, the 9/11 terrorists were Mujahideen guys who were funded by the CIA, former Mujahideen guys. And you know why the CIA was funding them? Not because they were socialists, but because they were fighting socialism in Afghanistan against this democratic socialist government, and the U.S. funded the terrorists instead. But anyways, this video is already doing well, I see. There have been some absolutely hilarious reactions to this guy winning a primary election in New York. The guy's just a basic democratic socialist. I wouldn't expect more from him than what you're currently getting from Bernie or AOC. But the right is treating this man like he is the second coming of Osama bin Laden. Patrick Bet-David, that grifter, said Sharia law is the end goal. By the way, who the hell is listening to Patrick Bet-David? Who listens to that guy? I've listened to a couple things that he's done because he's been interviewing people who I was actually interested in hearing from. What an idiot grifter. When he was on Joe Rogan's show, he brought out like 20 different things to promote. And he disguised it as a gift to Joe. He's like, here you go, Joe. Here's a gift. And it was all this shit he was selling. That guy is a grifter. He looks like every 40-year-old dude who cares way too much about their appearance and is way too desperate to stay young. So they put tons and tons of grease in their hair. I feel like there are a million Patrick Bet-David clones in the world. Who the hell is listening to that guy's show? What? He has nothing interesting to share. Nothing. Ever. NYC is just the opening move. And Charlie Kirk says, time for the West to wake up. Yes, Islamic law is just around the corner. Soon we will replace Trump with the Ayatollah. First, we elect some guy from DSA as the governor of New York. And next, Islamic Revolution. Don't ask me how those two things are connected. Charlie Kirk told me so. And he also told me that he's really smart, so. And Charlie Kirk even invoked 9/11. Like Zoran is going to do another 9/11 to New York. Hey, dum-dum, did you know that the 9/11 guys were funded by the CIA when they were fighting socialism in Afghanistan? These people don't know anything, man. The right is filled with so many shameless grifters. There have been some absolutely hilarious reactions. It's just so bad. Some of these grifters. Shakira Law, let's go. Henry David, thank you for the $5 super chat, brother. I appreciate you. This is interesting. I drove 3 hours with my dad to debate Charlie Kirk on Israel. but they refuse to take my question. I'm not surprised. He's been getting asked a lot of questions about Israel lately, and those debates have not been going well for him. He's had a lot of people who, know what they're talking about more or less when it comes to Israel and AIPAC, and they've made Charlie Kirk look pretty bad, even to a lot of right-wingers. There have been a lot of viral clips with Charlie Kirk, not being on the winning end of a lot of these debates. So I'm not surprised that they cut you off, especially if you know your stuff. Hopefully, another time you will be able to actually debate Charlie Kirk, and you can share that video with us. I would love to react to it on the stream. Let me know if you end up doing that. But yeah, thank you for the $5 super chat, brother. I appreciate it. It's just funny because during one of those debate streams I did with Haas, we kept telling this girl that we were going to implement Sharia law in America, and that's what socialism is. Just like trolling her. And now you have like Charlie Kirk, this like multi-millionaire political analyst, actually saying that this governor is going to implement Sharia law. Like, our country's so stupid, man. You guys see this, by the way? Destiny with the IDF?
Destiny is now being flown into Israel so he can give speeches to the IDF on how to better cover up their war crimes. I wish I was kidding.
I think Israel has unique issues. Here's the one piece of advice I'll give you, okay? If you're joining the IDF, okay? Leave your fucking cell phone at home and stop taking stupid fucking videos, okay? Because everybody's fucking you with them, okay? And if you see a soldier, okay, going through a fucking drawer, and listen, if you want to fucking wear a dress and you think it's...
I love how they applaud him. Yeah! Cover the war crimes. Stop posting your war crimes on TikTok and Twitter. Yeah, good advice. How about stop doing war crimes? How about stop doing war crimes, period? How about stop murdering kids, not continue to murder them, and don't post it on X? Holy shit.
Funny, just don't fucking take a fucking video picture of it, okay? Jesus. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So there you have it. That's his advice. He basically says, knock yourself out committing war crimes. Just don't film it. Don't film it because it's causing me to lose debates back in America. Like, what is going on here? Has this guy been a paid Hezbollah agent from the beginning? Hezbollah is the word for the Israeli propaganda strategy. I've always found his undying support for Israel to be really illogical. It would explain a lot if it turned out he was being paid to do this the entire time, being trained up in various Israeli talking points and propaganda strategies. And if he wasn't paid from the beginning, he must be now. I imagine he's not doing IDF speaking engagements for free. Or maybe he is. Maybe he's just that sick and twisted of a human being. Israel and Destiny certainly deserve each other.
Ain't that the truth? His son is a Groiper, LMAO. I saw that. Logo had a really good post about it. I can probably find it. I don't want to butcher this post, so I'm just going to find it and read it. But it was about fascism and people's view of their fathers and how that influences them. Oh. Where is it? I can't find it. Oh, it was basically like you would expect someone like Destiny, this like hyper neoliberal degenerate, for their kid to be a Groiper or a Nazi, someone who's more honest about their degeneracy and their support for genocide and fascism, like supporting and doing all of the things that Destiny's doing, but without being dishonest about it, without pretending to be this human rights protecting liberal. And that a lot of these fascists are people who, resent their parents in the same way that I'm sure that guy resents Destiny being his dad. A lot of these people have no respect for their fathers, basically, which I agree with. And yeah, it's just interesting when you see, people's their parenting and their upbringing and their material conditions have such a deep substantive impact on the person they become as an adult. It's just interesting to ask, why do people become these radical, hateful, right-wing extremists? Well, if you got a dad like Destiny, who's on the internet doing all these disgusting things and, you know, getting cucked by your mom or your stepmom or whatever, like, yikes. Wouldn't want to be him. I'm glad I can respect my father. Send Destiny to the countryside so we can learn the value of hard work and the validity of the labor theory of value firsthand. Exactly. That's what these people need. I'm sorry, but the gulags and the Cultural Revolution are like the most base thing ever, and we need them in America. Get rid of the prison industrial complex. It's bullshit. Replace it with hard labor for Bill Gates and Destiny and all these scumbags. Put them to work. Lehigh Valley. There you go. Send them there. Think how much farmers in America would love that. If we were like, hey, you see this blue-haired guy, Destiny, who wants to send your kids to fight and die for Israel while he plays video games and streams? He's coming to bale hay for you. You have to make him bale hay, and your only job is to make him tough and to make him read. I think the farmers of America would love an American Cultural Revolution. Kind of random, but do you think Khomeini was a good guy? I mean, yes. He's certainly an amazing person. Like, you know, I don't believe in the great man of history fallacy. Like, I believe in class forces that move history forward. But, like, there are great influential men of history who really play an outsized role in transforming their country. And Khomeini is certainly one of those people. The Iranian Revolution is, you know, I'm a Marxist, so, you know, I don't advocate for an Islamic revolution, which is what the Iranian Revolution was. However, the Iranians nationalized the banking system, and they nationalized all of the corporations and the resources that had previously been extracted out of Iran by Western multinational corporations and these banks who were trapping the Iranian people in debt. So basically, they had a revolution, an uprising. Well, they democratically voted for Mohammad Mossadegh, who wanted to implement some of these policies in the early 50s. But the UK, with the help of the US, ousted him in a 1953 coup. So more than 2 decades later, the Iranians were sick of Western influence in their country and being exploited by these banks and multinationals. So they had an uprising, a revolution, you know, with the Islamic leadership at the head, the Muslim leadership at the head. So do I support that uprising against the banking class and against Western imperialism and these forces of Western domination? Absolutely. And do I support him in his role in leading that? Absolutely. I have criticisms of the Iranian state and the Iranian revolution. I have things that I think they could do different to make themselves more successful and to benefit the people more. That being said, it's a state that's rebelling against imperialism in every way. It's a thorn in the side of the Western imperialists in the Middle East. It supports the liberation of Palestine in a material sense. Actually giving real material support to the liberation fighters fighting against the Zionist entity. So yeah, I would say pretty good guy, I guess. That, you know, that's such an oversimplification. But the Iranian Revolution was a progressive move in history away from a Western-backed colonial dictatorship. So in that sense, I support it. Long answer to a good question. Thank you, Michelle, for the super sticker and for being a Midwestern Marx member. Salute to you, comrade. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of our super chatters and super stickers tonight. Yo, what up, y'all? What up, Golden Parenti? Good to see you, brother. You've been killing it on X lately, as always. Nice haircut, Eddie. Looking good. Thank you, Jared. I appreciate you. Glad you like it. Sister's wedding is coming up. Had to look fresh fresh to death. If we just attack the enforcement of empire, we will win, said the fake left. Yep. An outside stream, nice. I'm actually indoors. I'm just in a new place. I wish I was outside. It does kind of look like I'm on a porch right now, doesn't it? It looks like that's the night behind me. I just kind of realized that. It's actually a wall, though. I'm in a basement. I wish I was outside. How are we working on defending working class communities from ISIS paramilitary? I mean, first of all, on our program, we want to completely bust up the armed bodies of the state and replace them with people's militias, actual working class bodies that can police themselves and can act as a defense force for the country, and actually protect the public, not act as a tool to extract extra money out of them or keep them in their place. But the best thing that you can do to actually defend against encroachments from the state, any kind of surveillance state stuff, or state military encroachment or authoritarianism, for lack of a better word, is community organizing. It's to get your community able to defend itself. You can interpret that statement however you will. I'll be careful with what I say here on YouTube because I don't want to get taken down. Making sure that your community can defend itself, making sure that your community is actually communal, that you actually have bonds and are willing to fight for each other or protect each other or work in the interests of one another. Having your communities strengthened, organized, and able to defend themselves, which is, what we're doing at the ACP. That in addition to direct workplace organizing the drayage truckers and stuff. But yeah, we're not just, as other people said, like attacking the armed bodies of the state, like going out and attacking ICE agents and stuff, because that's actually going to have the reverse effect. It's not going to lead to any systemic change. It's not going to help anybody not get deported, and or not going to help anyone get treated more fairly. And it's actually going to have the reverse effect of leading to more crackdowns from the state, more of a surveillance state. And this is why Lenin and our Marxist leaders of the past, intellectual leaders of the past, condemned adventurism and went to great lengths to explain what adventurism is. So there you have it. Also, Biden deported people at a faster rate than Trump. So a lot of it's just media hoopla too. And that's from Trump's side because he wants to be the deporter in chief, right? Trump wants to convince people that he's deporting more than he is. The Democrats also benefit from that narrative that he's deporting everyone, and they benefit from the narrative that there's massive resistance to this on the ground. So you also have to keep in mind that there's psyops and media games at play here as well. It's not as simple as, good guy leftist resisting ICE, bad guy right wing, deporting everybody at an unprecedented rate. It's not exactly what's going on here. So. Does ACB have any fraternal connections with the CP of the DPRK similar to other parties? We do. Thank you, Back from the Road. Yeah, I don't know. I think we have some formal connections, but at least informal connections with them, tied in with various anti-imperialist DPRK groups. They really like us and what we're doing. They like the direction we're going. They don't even really know what wokeism is, the DPRK. But they don't like it, what they've seen of it, and they like that we're not, hyper woke party, hyper identity based party. So yes, actively pursuing more fraternal relations with the DPRK, but they've been pretty friendly towards us. I would have to ask Comrade Halali the status of the actual relationship with the Communist Party there. But great question, and thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother. How would the ACP address the immigration issue? Thank you, Love Peaceful. Appreciate you for the $2 super chat. Yeah, this is explained in our program point on ending mass immigration and modern slavery. because we do have to understand that a lot of these immigrants are coming from countries that have been destroyed by U.S. imperialism, for one. And two, nobody benefits more from mass immigration than the capitalist class, the neoliberal class, because it gives them a giant supply of cheap labor that they can use to undercut the domestic workforce and lower wages. So we want a regulated and controlled border policy, right? No putting kids in cages, no separating kids from their parents, but actually regulate the border. Don't let drug traffickers and, narco terrorists and all this stuff, to the extent that they are actually coming in through the border, don't let them in, right? But just like we have a rational and planned economy, you have a rational and controlled border situation that's actually rational and actually has a reasonable process, to immigrate. But of course, we would also stop bombing all of these other countries and destabilizing all of these other countries, which would vastly decrease the number of people who want to come here. All the main countries refugees are fleeing from today and immigrants are coming from today are countries that have been destroyed by U.S. and European imperialism. So anyways, rational and planned basis, but anybody who's been living here for 10 years or whatever, they should just be a citizen. It's a complete waste of resources to send ICE into these neighborhoods to deport people who have been living here and working here for years. Complete waste of resources to send ICE into Southern California, which literally shares a border with Mexico, and deport a bunch of people 10 feet over to Mexico. What the hell are we doing? We have people, starving and people dying from lack of health care. What a waste. So, it would be a rational and humane policy, but we do want to bring an end to, cross-border drug trafficking and just a completely, anarchic border situation, so that, mass deportations don't even have to be something that people are calling for, because the border situation is under control and people's wages are under control and people's standard of living is under control, because that's what causes a lot of the anti-immigrant bigotry too, and even the racist portion of it is people having their wages undercut, people being in really precarious, shitty economic situations, unable to pay their bills. And then you have these demagogic right-wing populist politicians who come along and say, well, it's all the immigrants' fault, it's all the Mexicans' fault. And it's easy to fall for that when you are in a precarious economic situation and you don't have the time to study political economy all day, like some of us. This is patriotism. Hell yeah, brother. Damn right. USA. 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 Except USA Wrestling, pretty corrupt. Don't tell them I said that on stream. The future of MAGA. Yeah, we haven't even talked about MAGA. And I named this stream The Future of MAGA. But where is MAGA going to go after this? It's interesting to see the sort of MAGA civil war that's going on. You're seeing a lot of conversations now on the right. If we don't become anti-Zionist as right-wingers, the left is going to keep winning all of these elections. But the left and the right is completely controlled by corporate lobbyists. And one of the largest corporate lobbyists is AIPAC and these other Israeli lobbying organizations. So the left and the right are going to continue to be bought out by these corporate interests and anger everybody who's serious about change. So where do people go next? I would love to say that everybody joins the ACP and becomes communist. I think in some sense that will happen. I think a lot of people will. I think a lot of people will continue to drift to the radical extreme right, go to the other end of the spectrum. And some people will continue to be co-opted by the establishment, but the establishment can't go on forever at this point. It's facing some serious resistance. And now even the Trump phenomena, which was in a way, a big resistance to the establishment, a big switch up for the establishment, is now being sublated as Trump is no longer enough for his own base. His own base is saying, hey, you're not being the anti-imperialist, pro-working class guy that you promised to. Why haven't you brought manufacturing jobs back while, spending my taxes on bombing Iran? And you still have the people completely drinking the Kool-Aid, but even those people will need somewhere to go when Trump is, no longer in office or passed away. I don't know. I doubt he's just going to give up his office smoothly this time if he loses the election. Or can he even run for an election? He's already served 2 terms. I don't know. I just doubt he's going to give it up. Yeah, very interesting times. I don't know where they go. Definitely join our Truth Social PSYOP. Follow Eddie Liger on Truth Social. Me and a bunch of the ACP cadre have been posting all my content on Truth Social and getting people to read Midwestern Marx and having conversations with Trump people and trying to win them over on communism. It's much easier than talking to liberals, unless there are a few people who are just like QAnon Kool-Aid drinkers who are like, I hope God touches your heart and shows you that President Trump is the second coming of Jesus Christ. And you're like, okay. But you actually, most of the people you talk to are way more rational and kind and down to earth than liberals. So W PSYOP. Yeah, join our PSYOP today. Download True Social. Help us convert Trump people and take them in a positive direction. You're a G, Eddie. Real shit. You are an inspiration. Thank you, Kano. I appreciate that, brother. Hope you're a member of the party. So I'm inspiring you to work harder for the class struggle. Appreciate you. What do you think about Iceland and Greenland joining the People's Federation of America? If they supported it, it would be based. I highly doubt Iceland would want to do that because they're like an EU woke liberal country. But Greenland, it seems like there's actually a lot of energy in Greenland to join the U.S. So if they want to be part of the collective and, unite and fight for a better system, a better country, I'm totally in favor of it. The bigger the country, the better, in my opinion. No more of these small, little, isolated fascist states. We need big, grand, united, cooperative civilization states. I'm all about it. Come on over, Greenland. Iceland, yeah. Also, Iceland's like 3 cities, but it's a lot bigger than Greenland in terms of population. But I'm for it. We support Canada joining as well. Canada should be part of the U.S. Good points were made tonight. I'm glad you thought so, man. Thank you. How's the wrestling career going? Good. I'm mostly coaching these days, but I appreciate you asking. It's going real good. Run one of the fastest growing wrestling clubs in the U.S. All right, folks. We've been going about an hour 20. We'll probably play it out with the outro here. I appreciate you all hanging out tonight. This was a fun stream. Thank you so much to all the super chatters. If you want to support the work we do here at Midwestern Marx, the best way to do so is on patreon.com/MidwesternMarx. Patreon doesn't take any of your money the same way that YouTube does. And I also do regular Q&As on Patreon and have tons of exclusive content on there. So in addition to getting Carlos's book, The Purity Fetish, you also get tons of exclusive videos and stuff. Other than that, should be back with a stream by this weekend at the very latest, hopefully before that. Looking forward to it. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, although YouTube loves to suppress us and probably won't notify you. But I think that's all I got for today, folks. So we'll see you on the next one. Solidarity.
Stand up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear your might. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no right. Let racist ignorance be ended, for respect makes the empires fall. Freedom is merely privilege extended, unless enjoyed by one and all. So come, brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. The International unites the world in song. So comrades, come rally, for this is the time and place. The international ideal unites the human race. Let no one on and stand beside us. We'll live together or we'll die alone. In our world poisoned by exploitation, those who have taken, now they must give. And end the vanity of nations, we've but one earth on which to live. So come brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. The International unites the world in the song. So comrades, come rally, for this is the time and place. The international ideal unites the human race. And so begins the final drama, in the streets and in the fields. We stand unbowed before their armor, we defy their guns and shields. When we fight, provoked by their aggression, let us be inspired by life and love.